me.
I'll catch you on the flippity flip. Bye.
So a controversial topic in the horror space is what character is going to be the next face of horror as Hollywood has continued to try and fail to find its next Michael Myers, its next Freddy Krueger, its next Jason Voorhees, its next Jigsaw, its next Chucky the Doll. They just can't seem to find that next iconic horror franchise, and that's why I think horror franchises as a whole are struggling a little bit. It's very hard to find a really good horror flick these days. I don't think that that's particularly shocking to anybody. I think the closest we got to like the new face of horror was the Annabelle and Conjuring series, but they milk that like an old cow and it's just nobody cares anymore. And like most, horror franchises, like that was run into the dirt like super quickly. And it still, even though it was run to the dirt and all the iconic horror franchises that have come before it have been run into the dirt, well, the Conjuring and Annabelle series just doesn't hold the same weight, like at all, in any capacity. It's not nearly as good or nearly as iconic, and in 20 years, people are still gonna be talking about Freddy Krueger, and they're not gonna be talking about the Conjuring, I can promise you that. Because it's more paranormal, right? There isn't much to go off of there as an iconic slasher killer. And yes, The Conjuring is iconic because whenever it first came out, it was incredibly terrifying, but then they made 15 of them, and then it's just not scary anymore because it's the same movie over and over and over again. And I know what you're saying, Ian, that's every horror movie, even whenever the prime of Freddy Krueger and Jason were around. They just put him out over and over and over again. And you'd be right, and they were terrible. But my point is that we haven't found the next one to drain. But that was until Ethan Hawke starred in The Black Phone as the Grabber, which whenever the movie originally came out, a lot of people were saying this could be the next big slasher, this could be the next face of horror. So whenever the original Black Phone movie came out, I decided to go check it out, and it was very good. It perhaps leaned into the paranormal element a little more that I would like to see when it comes to the next big slasher, but Ethan Hawke is a brilliant actor who plays the Grabber in a very creepy and terrifying way. I thought maybe his motivations were not just like that great, but he had a very good looking iconic look to him. I thought that it looked good. And for what it's worth, The Black Phone was very good. But then they killed him at the end of the film, and I was like, okay, guess he's not gonna be the new face of horror, because that's over. And then on that front, it was pretty silent for years. I didn't hear anything about a new Black Phone movie coming out for a while. And I know I'm a little late to the party, but a couple weeks ago, the new trailer for The Black Phone True 2 released. And me being curious, I decided to check it out because I wanted to see what this would look like, because I didn't know if it was going to be a prequel. But very quickly into the new trailer, they broke it down as a continuation. And the boy who was in the original Black Phone movie, I don't remember his name, this is him all grown up with his new group of friends after he was originally kidnapped. At least I think that's what happens in this trailer. And then the reveal happens that Ethan Hawke's the Grabber is now a ghost, and he can kill people in their dreams. Similar to Freddy Krueger, but he can just kind of beat the shit out of you whenever he feels like it because he's a ghost. And there's no rules to this. And it looked really good. I understand what I just described to you sounded a little bit cheesy and may not be that good of a movie, but it looked shot really well. Ethan Hawke is a brilliant actor that I think can play the Grabber for years to come, and giving him this more paranormal element and power to him means that he can stick around forever and he can do a lot of different things. Like I may have just said before, The Black Phone 2, as a cinematography standpoint, good lord, taking place in like a barren campsite in the middle of the winter in like a blizzard, it looked shot very well. I remember The Black Phone 1, the teasers and the trailers made the movie seem a lot more scary than it actually was, and that's every movie these days. At least in the horror department, that is. But The Black Phone 2's trailer made it look really good and really scary. And it really built him up as this next big face, potentially, of horror. It made the Grabber seem more important. Now, I've seen some early reviews of people who may have got to check out this movie before it's come out and hit the theaters to the public, and they have said it's kind of potentially the traditional route that horror movies will go, where it's just why did it need to happen? But I think if the goal is to find your next franchise, and Ethan Hawke is a really great actor who's really great at playing that character, why not bring it back? I guess the debate is now is if they can find a new way to continue to reinvent it past this point, because the Black Phone to the Black Phone 2, at least from the trailers, it seems like they have been able to reinvent that character. They gave him a paranormal element. He is now a ghost. What are we going to do with that in the future for the Black Phone 3 and the Black Phone 4 and whatever other movies he appears in? I guess the question is, can we find a way to reintegrate that character in different ways? Because what is he gonna do after this? I don't know. How can we continue to make that interesting? And that's the issue with horror nowadays. Well, I guess that's the issue with horror as a genre in general, is that it's very hard to kind of keep like the basic narrative and the basic ground rules for scary man slash person kills people. There's only so much you can do there, right? So maybe you churn out a couple good movies and then you just send them packing on its merry way. Perhaps we'll never have something as iconic as Freddy Krueger or as Jason Voorhees, or as the Chucky doll, but we'll go ahead and try at least. I think another character that's kind of out there in the ethos is Bill Skarsgård's It the Clown, or Pennywise the Clown. That's very fun, except there's no, they got the prequel show coming out, and then it's like now we're out of It stuff from the book or the source material, and I don't even know if the prequel series are going to pull from the source material. So I talked about that in the last It video, how I hope that they pushed that forward in more creative and fun ways, and we'll just have to see if they actually do that. But the Black Phone 2, what'd you think of it? As far as the trailer goes, of course. Do you think this looks interesting, or do you think this just looks like another run-of-the-mill horror movie? I already said in the past that I'm not the biggest horror movie fan, but whenever something pops out that really excites me, because so many horror movies that come out these days are either so far left field they're complete ass, or they are just generic and boring and don't have anything interesting to them, I try not to watch them because it's the same film that I've seen before. But if you have something different, like the Long Legs stuff was, and the Barbarian movie stuff was, I'm in. And Weapons. Weapons was great too. So I guess we will find out in the next one. Well, I'll do a review when the movie comes out. I'm hoping it doesn't suck. But yeah, peace, love, adios, and bye-bye.